Welcome back to another episode of the Armchair Pundits podcast. Season is over, so there are no more reviews and what they like. So you'll be getting different content through the summer and possibly going forward as well. So I'd like to welcome back Lamont and Bevan. How you guys doing?
Yeah, man, all good. I feel like Lamont's trying to steal my look though. I wear the yeah, bruv. Not feeling it. Wear contacts.
Hey, bro, I'm coming for it, bro.
You know what I mean? No.
Listen,
this ain't your spot, bruv.
Listen, I'm just trying to just ease myself into the whole glasses look. What do you think for the new season?
No, it don't suit you, bruv.
Oh, cheers. I didn't expect to hear nothing less coming from you, to be honest.
It's not your story.
There we go. And then there were three. It's contagious. This is when we mean business.
I should be wearing them, but I never.
Yeah. It's getting late as well, so
yeah. So I should.
Exactly.
Thanks for the reminder.
Okay.
But James, I was going to say to you, we're still giving our review though. It might not be on the EPL, but as a whole, our review and opinions,
Yeah. That's true. So this week, I'm sure everyone's heard the news that Steven sent a couple of our guys off sick today. They don't want to talk about their hero, Big Ange, getting sacked after winning them the trophy for the first time in the longest time. Sorry, Leon. Sorry, Daryl. Hope you get better soon.
Didn't you hear, James? Didn't you hear? They ran out of a budget for season 3, so they had to cancel it. 17 years they prepared for this. 17 years in production, and after one little bit of success, they ran out of budget.
That's Levy for you, boy. Cutting costs everywhere.
Imagine getting written off the show before it even happens, bro. You get it off at the end credits.
Oh, mate.
But we'll without them, we'll carry on. We'll give our view on what we thought of it. So we'll start the first segment with the sacking. Was it justified? Was it harsh? So when you look at it, the points you can look at is trophy versus league disaster, because it was a disaster. And ended the 17-year trophy drought, winning the Europa League. But he also recorded the worst Premier League finish of 17th since 1977, with a measly 38 points and losing 22 games. No one has ever lost 22 games and not been relegated. So
they didn't even get to the 40-point marker, did they?
No, they didn't.
He averaged a point a game. That is terrible. That is bad.
Yeah, that's bad.
I don't think you'll ever see that again, and someone not get relegated. The bottom 3 were really bad, but
I think you might. I think you might do. I think the gap between the Premier League and the Championship is getting bigger. Yeah. So you could see that. Yeah.
So when we look at it, does the European trophy outweigh near relegation form, or was the league collapse unforgivable in your opinions? For me, I think they made the right decision in terms of I've spoken to a couple of Tottenham fans and they don't seem happy. They think he should have been given a chance because he ended the drought. But I think at the same time, they've got to take the emotion out of it. And this is an outsider's point of view. Since that Chelsea game last season, where they ended with 9 players, before that, I think they won 10 out of 9, something like that. I could be Tottenham fan may say it's a bit less.
I'm pretty sure they were top of the league or something ridiculous like that.
My maths are terrible. 10 out of 9, I think they won 9 out of 10. Yeah, and they were top.
They were top.
Since that game, he's been horrible. I think he won 10, possibly lost 10 in the run up because they never draw games. He's kept winning or losing, and this season they've lost 22 games. So that's roughly 32 games that he's lost in a season and a half. Like, can you justify a manager staying on after losing 32 league games just because they won a trophy? Like,
well, you see his points tally works out to like 1.5 points a game. That's that is abysmal. I think I can see why fans would say it's harsh, but then would if they have this season again, and so Levy wants to get into the Champions League.
Yeah.
Can he trust that this manager? Can he trust for the manager to go into the new season, and that the form from the old season doesn't follow him into the new season, because he can't? Is he gonna? What? Are they hoping for him to sacrifice the Premier League for the Champions League and then get into the Champions League the following season by winning it? It's a lot of I know it's a lot of ifs and buts, but it's not. You haven't got the same. They're not going to go back into the Europa to get back into Champions League football. So is it sustainable to lose those games, and then how long do you give him? Do you say okay, you get like 10 games and then go from there, or do you say, you know what?
I think that's what some of the fans want. I think some of the fans want give him 5-10 games. See how because apparently the players are all despondent and angry about the sacking as well.
Yeah, of course, they're on a high. What do you think? They're on the Europa bubble. Like, I think any team that wins a competition, even if their managers, job's in jeopardy, when you're coming out of a barren spell and winning a cup, which is a big cup by any rights, but especially at their level, you'd want the gaffer to stay around for at least, one more season just to see if they could replicate some more glory. It might not be on the European level, but some of these boys coming in have probably never played Champions League. I mean, you've got to consider as well, Bev, yeah? I feel like, obviously, the conversations that would have been had, he probably got the sack. And, they probably realised that they're on two different wavelengths in terms of bolstering the squad to give them a little bit more meat on the bone, excuse the expression. Because last season, they got found wanting, really. I mean, they had a lot of injuries at some points. I think after, was it just before Christmas, they started the injuries started really piling in, and they really kind of felt like in the January window they should have probably put their hands in their pocket and probably spent a little bit. I think Ange touched on it on a couple of the interviews as well. Said that he should have potentially gone into the window and just kind of got some backups. Really,
they did. They got what's his name in it?
Danso. But you know that you can't talk about Levy in public, bro. They look at Mourinho did it. I'm sorry, Conte did it, but Poch did it, and Poch got them to a Champions League final. And then as soon as they started off the season in a bad way, he was like, "Nah, see you later." And he did it. He did it to Mourinho just before a cup final.
Yeah.
So like, and like touching on your point, last season, I know I'm gonna die. I'm gonna go in a different direction, but you're gonna see where I'm going with this. Yeah. Last season, Man United won the FA Cup, right? And fans were clamoring about how horrible that season was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And should he have stayed or should he have gone? They wanted him gone. They kept him, and then what happened? When did he got sacked? And then what happened? You got a new manager, and then you're saying about you haven't got the players that he needs. He is, and your season was worse. So you don't think that Levy's going to look at that and think like, do I take this risk? Yeah, is this a risk that I'm going to willing to take?
I feel like these players bought into what Ange's plan was more so when they won the Europa. I would imagine.
But then got turned over by Brighton in the last game of the season
because they wasn't in it. Come on, like I think that would have happened to anybody in that run of form.
Look at Liverpool after won the league.
Literally, the capitulation was always it was, bruv. Everybody knew that the last game of the season after Spurs won that Europa was irrelevant.
Yeah,
everybody knew it.
Not like that. Not 4-1. You might take a 2-1.
Yeah, but either way, 1-0, 2-0, 4-0. What you got to remember is still with the way that they were carrying on in the league. I feel like up until it got really bad with the injuries and so on, I feel like there was still a little glimmer of hope that they might come good because of their goal difference, and you could see that they was scoring way more goals than what they were kind of used to, or what they should have been, to be fair. And all of a sudden, when the injuries got beyond what their control, you saw that goal difference just getting smashed to smithereens. And you could see at that point, I think we spoke about it just before the pod and pretty much said, it was almost like when the guys on the injury list came back, like the squaddies and the first teamers came back, it's almost like they got worse because I felt like they completely ignored the league, which was probably a very naive move.
It was 7 guys at half time to give them match fitness. Like
in the
Ven will
league.
play half a game, and then like how you gonna set up? I know Man United did it through the season, but that was forceful because of injuries. These guys were getting subbed at half time just to give them game time, like it was preseason.
Yeah, and like you said earlier on, Bev, Postecoglou publicly criticised the board, and that includes Levy. And you don't do them things, and we've seen many a man do that and get and literally get the boot not too long after. So I feel like yes, his job was probably in the balance, and they probably had more of a conversation after he won it. But Levy's a very ruthless character, so
but
it was always going to go that direction. To be honest,
I think it goes. I think that if he had finished 4th, and got Champions League and not won the Europa, I don't think Levy gets rid of him.
No, he doesn't. But then that's classed as so.
But yeah,
that moves on to the next point. So that would class him as a successful season because he would have finished 5th first season. Then he would have improved because he would have finished 4th the next season.
Yeah.
So when you look into that factor, was his tenure success or failure? Because, like I said at the beginning, what was his remit? Every Tottenham manager, and in 5 years, they've sacked 4 now. What was their remit been? To win a trophy.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. I think that's what's been, not to get into Champions League, but although that's probably one of them.
It's a bonus.
Do you know what it is? I can't remember I think it was Petit said it. He said, "Yeah, you can win a trophy, but it's the way that you do it."
Yeah.
So there is that you take the trophy, but then it's also like league performances matter, and because what's the point in having the point system then? What's the point in having the league if it don't matter? And how can a team finish 17th and then do you trust that manager who when he got there I think he finished he got before he got there Spurs had 60 points, he got there 66, and then this season he drops off to 38. Yeah, and then you can talk about injuries and things like that, but then you have to then adapt the way that you play to
so you're blaming the manager there then? It sounds like you're blaming the manager there.
I'm not blaming. He's got to take some culpability at the same time, bro.
I personally feel just on that. I personally feel in the last 5 years they've had 4 managers. So this is the 4th sacking, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
they've not had mugs other than Pochettino. I can't sit here and act like I know what his scratch record was like before he got to Spurs. But Mourinho and Conte are in that 4 winners. Yeah, winners. So when you're kind of looking at it, your common denominator is only one person, and it's the name that everyone sees before they get sacked, and it's Levy. Yeah. Now, if I'm a Spurs fan and I'm saying to myself, I want to win a trophy, but I also want to be in the big competitions, what needs to change? Because we've changed the manager, we've pretty much changed a lot of the squad, although the squad's ceiling hasn't raised as such. They've probably not got any better players because they lost Kane and Son's on his decline, etc., etc. They've got a couple of new boys that look like they could, make the grade, as in Bergvall and what's his name? Van der Ven.
Mikey Moore as well. Archie Gray.
Mikey Moore as well. Yeah, Archie Gray. Yeah, all right. So they've got a couple guys coming through. But is Levy gonna give any manager the opportunity to kind of take that a step further now and say, right, I'm gonna trust you to kind of get this team together, and I'm going to give you a purse for the summer or January?
Well,
is the losing culture going to change with him at the helm, realistically?
It depends, because you could argue now they've won something. Does that empower the players? Mikey Moore's won a trophy. Bergvall's won a trophy. Archie Gray, as youngsters, they've won a trophy. Then you look at it, the style of football he played. Do you then bring in... Because there's nothing wrong with it. His attacking football, there was nothing wrong with it. So that's why you talk about his legacy, success or failure. Football-wise, how we set them out to play. On one side, good young players that play good attacking football, but he himself did not know how to set up a team defensively. So has Levy put someone in that has put the first building block in? They can attack. Then you bring someone else in who, okay, cool, I know you can attack. Now let me build the base, the real base, and can you meld the attack with the defense with these really good young talents?
Be a bit more resolute. Really, he's gonna be a legend at the club, but at the same time, it's also a disaster, isn't it? So he gets his statue. Thank you, but
statue, you know.
I don't know. He ain't gonna statue, mate. He fell out with bruv. He fell out with Levy, mate. You think Levy's putting him? You're taking a Michael. You're taking a big.
How, bro? What the same? Listen, if Spurs fans are complaining about not having a trophy, and he delivers their trophy, and they wanted him to stay, and it's a European trophy, give him the statue, man.
Yeah, I think to be fair, I don't know about
that. I can see the merits, but I can see the Arsenal fan coming out. I can see the Arsenal fan coming out.
You know what? All right, so we're just gonna ask a question, right? In another league, in any other league, in the top 5 leagues, what top team finishes 17th and wins the Europa League and their manager stays? What team? What
Probably
league?
Most of them.
Does he stay?
If he wins a European trophy, they might. He might if he wins a European trophy. If they've won a European trophy in like 35 years or more than that. I think it's more than 35 years.
I'm like,
I could be wildly incorrect, but I don't know. It's a big, like, other countries treat Europa League bigger than people in England do, so they may see it as a bigger triumph. And give him that extra.
I hear that, but I can't imagine a team like, if you got a team, I don't know, let's say you got a team like Lazio, and they got their manager, and they've been that bad. I don't know if the manager stays.
That's the thing. I don't know if he'll be there.
I don't know if he stays. So
yeah, I agree with that.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay. So, all right, we've discussed that. Let's move on to potential replacements. Obviously, we're hearing that in the next 48 hours, it's probably going to be Thomas Frank. But
I think, to be fair, we spoke about it on the previous pods as well, Jay. I think we did kind of all say, if Andrew's gone, Thomas Frank has to be, he has to be the next. Not has to be, but there's.
I don't think it's the right guy. Like, Pochettino is listed. Listen, $20 million is his buyout clause from US. That's not happening. But then there's Glasner and there's Iraola. Personally, I would have picked Iraola out of the 3. I'm ruling that Poch. I would have picked Iraola out of the 3. He hasn't won anything, but Bournemouth's record in the Premier League, 56 points this season, their best ever. He beat Arsenal, he beat City, he ran Liverpool like close both times we played him. He's got high pressing,
and that's because of the high pressing stuff.
And he can deal with injuries.
Exactly. Yeah. Limited European experience, which is a downside. So he wouldn't have done the Champions League. But the striker that is at Tottenham now, his best season was under Iraola at Bournemouth the season before. So he knows how to get the best out of their main man who they need to fire. So I don't know. That's my guy that I would have thought.
Do you know what it is though? I think the problem with some of these managers going to Spurs is that even though they have built these teams at Bournemouth and at Brentford, but Brentford's price isn't Tottenham's price.
Yeah, true.
And their recruitment is different.
Very different.
And they can take risks. They can take certain risks with players where I don't think a team like Tottenham, they can take those necessary risks.
I don't think it's a case of they can take the risk. I don't think they'll be allowed to by Levy. I don't think he would take a risk on certain players. I feel like personally, he has a lot more to do with the football directing side of things than just giving the money.
Is it director?
I really do. There? Who? Didn't they just get the guy from Arsenal? Or am I talking rubbish?
They got someone from Arsenal, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
He's not direct. I don't. He wasn't. Vinay, is he director of football?
I think he might be. I'm not 100%.
I mean, look, Thomas Frank for me is probably a good candidate only because he develops talent. Yeah. You got the guy like Tony and Mboma that Ivan Toney and Mboma who's heading to United. Touchwood.
Come on, Frank.
That,
take him Bromo, Frank. Take him Bromo.
That looks like a hijack where...
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, listen. But realistically, he's got no top tier trophies. So he's going in there probably like Ange did, more or less. I mean, Ange won Celtic. He won,
Ange won everywhere.
In Scotland.
He won everywhere. He won everywhere.
But would you say out of the last, say, 4 or 5 managers they've had, he's got the least impressive CV, Thomas Frank? Would you say that?
In terms 100%.
Of... So he's going in there with no... So he's going in there with no expectation. As in, like, he's not going there with a weight on his shoulders. Do you get what I'm saying?
I don't think Ange had a weight on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Nobody
you say that.
Brother, his success is in Australia, Japan, and Scotland. That's not exactly like... We're not setting the world on fire. Look at where, no disrespect, but look at where the top talent players in Scotland go, apart from Van Dijk. But even then, he went to Southampton first. Like they don't usually go to like the top teams straight away. So there is less pressure, and I think with Glasner, he's kind of on a hide into nowhere, really, because if he doesn't get them top 4, then it's going to be a problem. And if he doesn't win them,
Glasner or Frank?
Sorry, Frank.
You talk about Frank? Yeah, Frank. Sorry,
Frank. Yeah. If he doesn't, oh my bad. If he doesn't get them a trophy, then it's a problem. And if he doesn't, if he has a bad start to the season, then it's also a problem.
But this is what I was trying to say to you. I feel like it's not a big risk for him to go there. I don't think it affects him that badly. The only problem that I have is that I know he develops talent, but really, who is there for him to develop?
No, they got players. They got talent, man.
They got talent.
We mentioned them already. We already mentioned Mike.
No, but them guys are already in the transition. I'm talking about the guys that are coming in raw. Like Ivan Toney wasn't even getting a look in.
But that's because he brought him from championship though. So they were doing it at a lower level. So he had the time to get them established.
So these boys that we mentioned before, they've been already performing at this level. So he's not necessarily developing them as such. They've already proven that they can play at this level.
But he's Bergvall's
proven that he can play at this level.
Yeah,
so is Mikey Moore.
And
Gray.
Mikey Moore hasn't proven it yet.
He hasn't proven it.
Mikey Moore's had sprinkles. Gray hasn't played his natural position. Gray's been playing. Yes, he's proved that he can play. He's been playing centre back. He hasn't been given the chance to say, okay, you know what, Bissouma, out of here. Like, this is my spot.
Fair.
So in that regards, Frank has that opportunity to do that, but at the same time, this is a new level for him as well, though. He's never done European football like that. He's never, he gets a pat on the back for finishing 9th. If he finishes 9th next season, they'll be like, this is not good enough.
No.
So is he able to then make that jump to 9th is not good enough for me. You need Champions League football.
I do feel like this is a good transition for him, though. But I slightly got my eye on Glasner as well. And I feel like Glasner, I know you guys were kind of shaking your head before when I said Glasner. You said 3 at the back wouldn't work at Spurs. Yeah. But why not, though? Why not?
Man United.
I mean, what's his name going? What's his name? Romero. Is he going?
He probably should be.
Man United. I hate you, man. Honestly, bro. You think I didn't hear that? I just wanted to finish saying what I was saying.
Bro, 3 at the back ain't for everybody, bro.
Yeah, for real, it's not.
You'll see.
Right. To be fair, Glasner showed that it worked at Crystal Palace, but Roy Hodgson had used a back 3 at Crystal Palace over the years, occasionally. And obviously the Wolves guy, he came in and did a back 3 as well. But again, they had paid back 3s previously. Yeah. So for the players that Tottenham have, I don't think they have guys that the centre backs that can play it. On your question about Romero, he sounds like he wants out.
Brother, Gahey would be over there in a shot. Him and Eze.
That's 70 million.
That's bro.
Oh, it's probably they're not going to be able to get both of them. No, they won't be able to get both of them.
I don't think you understand the prices that Tottenham are going to get quoted to sign players. They're not. They're not shopping in the same place, bro.
No, bro.
Do you know what I mean? They got to pay the big leagues money, bro, and they don't want to pay that. So they got better scouting. I got issue with the scouting in the Premier League anyway with the top teams sometimes.
So, in your opinions, who do you think Frank is the right guy? From now, do you think it's the right guy? I think Iraola. I'll say it. I think Frank might do okay. But I think they would have done better if they put in Iraola.
Do you know what? Even though I think he's on a hide into nowhere, I do think he's going to make them more resolute defensively. I think he might make them a more balanced outfit, and I think that's what they will need. I think he's gonna do better than 11 wins in the league.
Yeah, I think Thomas is more tactically astute. He knows. I feel like he plays the game differently to Ange completely. He's not going to take too many risks, and I definitely feel like he'll buy players that he can develop. Do you know what I mean? As in, to play his style, and won't probably have to play a bomb for them neither. Look at what's his name, Damsgaard. Was it Damsgaard?
Yeah,
that he got over there. They didn't pay too much money for him, and he's come good.
Do you know what? I think there's players at Spurs that can play the way that he wants to play football.
Yeah, same.
Do you know what I mean?
There's a quiet whisper that Xavi and Southgate were looking at the Spurs job, but who knows?
Yes, I think they're probably making the correct choice, but 10 million, I think, is the price. But 10 million for a manager to do well, but you spend 40, 50 million on players. So is it really like? I think Slot was like 9 million to get Slot out.
How much time is he going to get? That is going to be the big question.
Well, Ange got 2 years and then finished 5th, 6th first season, so he'll get a couple of years at least. So, but moving on to our last points, we'll combine them. So, bigger picture: are they on a rebuild? Is it a reset? And summer transfer priorities in terms of striker depth. They've got Solanke. Do they need? He only got 12 Premier League goals.
Yeah.
Competition-wise, Richarlison does not cut it. Always getting injured.
He's not Premier League level.
Should it be sold? No. Would you see him bringing in someone like Wissa?
100%. 100%.
19 goals last season, no pens.
Or in
no, Brentford ain't got no other strikers over there.
They have. Need to take Wissa. He got injured. He got injured. They got Brazilian.
And they got his name as well. They got Sade.
Sade.
Yeah, Sade.
Oh yeah, Sade. Yeah, Sade. Yeah. I think his form peaked towards the end of the season as well. At the right time, realistically.
Yeah, definitely did.
Do you know what? I do. If Spurs were to get Mboma, I think him and Solanke could complement each other quite well.
Trust me. Trust me.
Why you guys always got to put stuff in the ether, bruv? Just move on, man.
Keep Mateus tell. Like Brendan Johnson got 11 goals. He can come as a backup for Mbeumo.
Yeah.
Listen.
I think Johnson's had his best season, and I don't think he's going to get better than that. I don't think he's going to get better than that. I think he peaked last season, and I think that's it. He's, you know what I mean? I think that's it. I do think they need to kind of reinforce the midfield, though. I don't think Bissouma's cut out for that for Champions League and EPL. I don't think he can do both. I think they definitely need a backup in there. I think Bentancur is a little bit too inconsistent in regards to, if the game gets too physical, he can't really get at it. He starts getting a little bit rash. So I think midfield-wise...
Bro, can we move on from Spurs? I'm getting a rash.
So I do feel like at that point, if they're going to keep them two, Eze would be a nice little touch.
That's another 60 mil. That's 70 million, bro.
But they could probably. Well, I looked at it. They spent last season. They spent 175 million total market value. Tottenham, Spurs did. So they can spend the money. And the average age of those players was 22. So if it's just to bring in 3 players, and like listen, the last point. What Slot has proved. Yes, Klopp had a very good squad. But one thing that everyone should realize is what Slot has proved this season is you don't have to buy new players as a new manager for you to improve. A new voice, new tactics can change things. Like even Glasner proved it last season with Crystal Palace. The Wolves manager proved it.
The Wolves manager, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, he proved it. He came in mid-season and revamped them.
It's only at Man United that the new manager bounced. Ended up being a crystal ball.
Bro, there's a bowling ball, bro. He came in with a bowling ball and got no strikes.
Got her.
So, but yeah, for me, I don't think they did revamp. Obviously, unfortunately, Leon and Darryl are not here. They may think otherwise, because obviously they feel it differently to us. But guys that are
they need a lot of players.
Guys that I mentioned,
they need a lot of players.
Tyler Diblin, I think that's too expensive. He was good, but is he a difference?
He's not 50 million good, 60 million good, no chance.
Mark Guehi, as you've mentioned earlier, would be expensive.
I think Mark Guehi would be a massive buy for them.
He's a leader, yeah.
Yeah, massively. Him, Van der Ven at the back. If they lose Romero, that would be a direct replacement, proven Premier League level as well, and the international. that would be a wicked replacement for them.
Really, I think it's a centre back, maybe another midfielder, and
an attacker.
An attacker, yeah.
Okay then. Well, this has been our Tottenham segment, and a new manager is coming soon, most likely to be Thomas Frank. We'll see if they can catch up with Arsenal and the rest that trailed behind Liverpool this season, and whether they can do better than Man United. It shouldn't be too hard. I
think you can say catch up with Arsenal and win a European trophy. Anyway.
Ravs, listen, we've won a European trophy. They just don't have it anymore, which was, at one point, which was more prestigious than the Europa League at one point. Let's have it right.
But cool. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. And to hit the notification button. I still can't say that properly. Notification button. Peace out.
Peace.